It's hammer time!
Hi guys, it's Steel here, and I'm going to make this video about the latest update for Ultimate Chaos. I am the creator and developer for Ultimate Chaos, and I'm going to talk to you a bit about some of the new stuff in this update, which should be out by the time you see this video, and just run you through some of the new changes. I'm going to be doing this over a backdrop of Nurgle versus the Empire, and you can actually see in the distance already there one of the principal new changes in this update, and that is batteries of war engines, and you can see them starting to get involved there. What you can now do is actually have huge batteries of your Chaos Siege engines, and if we take a look at these, you're going to notice that the bolter has actually got a new look now. It looks a lot more chaosy. It's not like a lame dwarf bolt thrower any longer, and you can just see the sheer amount of war engines coming over the hill here in this one battery. Effectively what the mod does, what's new in this update, is you can now recruit a unit that effectively triples the number of war engines in the standard unit. So we can see here now that instead of one hell cannon, there's now actually 3, and this is a hell cannon battery. Now, I already know what you guys are thinking. You're jumping up and down going, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, that's like so stupid or whatever. But consider, you're only actually allowed one of these in your army. So no, you can't line up 50,000 cannons and just obliterate absolutely everything. You can see the new plague cannon battery here, and I hope you guys really like the new textures on this one. I think you'll agree it's looking a lot more Nurgle-y now, and there's been some bug fixes to the plague cannon in this update. But yeah, anyway, you're only going to be able to have one war engine battery in each army for each different unit. So this is pretty much the maximum you can field. We've got a hell cannon battery here, we've got a bolt thrower battery over here, and we have the plague cannon battery over here. And they are exactly the same as normal war engines, except there's just more of them. So you're now going to be able to field great big lines of cannons to really make the enemy worry about your war engines. And I'm going to go through some of the reasoning behind this in a moment. But you can probably guess by watching this battle that Chaos are not actually the only faction that have these now. I've actually done this for every faction in the game. So right here we can see a Empire Hellblaster volley gun battery. Over here they have a great cannon battery backed up with a devastating Hellstorm rocket launcher battery, which is actually getting heavily punished by those plague cannons up on the hill right now. And somewhere over here, I think, yeah, we've got the Empire mortar batteries coming up into position. Now, there's a number of reasons for this change, and basically one of them is, while playing through the campaign games, the AI is really bad, basically, at using its artillery. And they just don't see much as a threat. Now, one of the Empire's big things is they're all about kind of like faith and gunpowder, pretty much. So, you know, they deploy a Hellstorm rocket battery, and you're just like, meh. You know, you're not really going to be afraid or worried by that. Well, now they can deploy huge, great batteries of them, which really are something to actually think about. But again, the AI has the same restrictions as the player. They can't spam these. They can't have hundreds of these. They are a very high tier unit, so you won't be seeing them early game. And they do actually take a lot longer to recruit as well than standard batteries. And of course, the upkeep and costs are tripled for all war engine batteries. But what it does allow you to do is it allows you to do custom battles now, where you can have if you're having a really huge battle, for example, you can have a war engine battery instead of taking 3 great Empire cannons, and it frees up more space for you to actually put more units in your battle. So now, where it used to take up 3 unit cards, you can now do exactly the same thing in a single unit card. It also means that one unit of very light cavalry might not actually be able to take one of these batteries down, because as you can see, they're crewed now by like 100 men. So they're actually easier to defend as well, and it should hopefully make it a little less easy to just run down the AI's artillery within the first 2 minutes of an opening battle, which is pretty much what happens in every single fight. So I hope you guys kind of, at least give these changes a try before you start going bananas that you don't like it. I've heard a lot of criticism already before this update's out that this is supposed to be a mod for Chaos and not to change anybody else. But unfortunately, to make the Chaos campaign experience good, there might need to be some changes to the other factions to make the campaign experience actually challenging, because obviously Ultimate Chaos units are very tough units. Despite the numerous AI mods that I've released, there is actually a new one, which I'll be talking about in a minute, which is even harder than the previous ones. So if you're finding Ultimate Chaos too easy, give it a go, because it makes them even more crazy. But this should hopefully add an extra layer of difficulty on. And one of the other things it does is it actually adds war engine batteries to certain settlements as a garrison, but that is only in the highest tier of the special settlements. So that's only in faction capitals. So that's like Kislev, Karak for the dwarfs, Black Crag for the greenskins, Altdorf for the Empire. So every city you attack isn't going to have these. It's only going to be literally the really big ones. There is actually batteries for Bretonia as well. They have trebuchets and blessed trebuchet batteries. For those of you that absolutely despise this change, I have actually programmed it in such a way that it's really easy to turn off if that's what you want to do, and I'm going to show you how to do that in this video as well. So this isn't actually the only change, but this is the main one that I wanted to showcase for you guys. It's the new look of the Chaos War Machines. Really hope you like them, and I think you'll agree they do look so much nicer than just having basically stolen some dwarf bolt throwers. They've actually got like a little Chaos symbol at the front, and they're all like black and irony and stuff. And you can see that despite the fact that the Empire have all these enormous war batteries, they still haven't stopped the bulk of the Chaos Force from actually engaging them and carving them up in melee. So, it's not like your armies are going to get obliterated within 2 seconds of taking to the field, as some people have suggested. So hopefully it'll just add that bit of a little extra layer of fun. You're not going to see batteries in the game till late game anyway, because, like I said, they are quite a high tier unit. They do take a while to recruit. And your Chaos batteries as well. There's a new building that allows you to build those, so you're going to have to take up to quite a high tier before you can utilize the Chaos War batteries, just like everybody else. So, yeah, that's kind of war batteries sort of covered there. And I hope that gives you some sort of like further explanation on that one, which is good. Like I said, it's not the only actual change in this update. There's been quite a few balance revisions, notably to the Nurgle faction, because they do seem to be considerably more powerful than everybody else. So there has been a number of revisions to Nurgle, so it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. There's been a bunch of bug fixes and things too, which you can check over in the patch notes, so I'm not going to go through every single one there. And I'm actually halfway through the next update for Ultimate Chaos now, which is going to add something that I hope you guys think will be really, really cool. It's something that's been missing from the mod for quite a while, and I'm quite excited to sort of get that out. So, that'll be pretty neat. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sort of come out of this, and I'm going to show you guys, if you really hate this change, how to disable it. So we're going into the sort of modding side of this video now. So I'll see you on the other side there. Okay, so here we go. We're now in the pack file manager, as you can see, and when you open the Ultimate Chaos mod in the pack file manager, this is what you're going to find. And I'm going to show you, if you really, really hate war batteries, how you can turn them off. So you can see right here, you've got DB, stands for database. So we're going to expand that. And as you can see, these are all the tables that Ultimate Chaos uses. Now, if we were to go down to, for example, land units, what you're going to see is you're going to see two tables over here. You're going to see the core data table, which contains all the units. And I've actually put the artillery batteries in a separate table. And I've done this for every change that the artillery batteries utilize. Now, what you don't do is delete this table, and the reason why is because other tables refer to it, and if you do that, it will crash. But So we can leave the artillery batteries in, and we can just simply disable everybody's ability to utilize them. So if we can go up here to building units allowed, you'll see that artillery batteries are in a separate table. And we can see here that it adds them to the Chaos Forges, it adds them to the Dwarf Workshops, the Greenskin Workshops, the Empire Workshops, everything. So if we were to just now delete this table and save it, nobody can recruit artillery batteries in the campaign. But we're not quite done yet there, because you might want to turn them off in custom battles as well. Frankly, I don't see why, because you could just say to the person you're playing, let's not use artillery batteries, but I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So if we go down to Unit Custom Battles Permissions, then you're going to see that, again, they're all in a separate table. So we can just delete this table here too, and now nobody can recruit them in custom battles. But there's one more change if you want to completely disable them, and I'm going to show you that one as well. And that is in the garrisons, or maybe you want them in the game but you don't want them to be part of the garrisons. Maybe it doesn't work for you, maybe you hate it. So what you'll see here is there's two tables. There's building level armed citizenry junctions, but that isn't actually the table we need to edit. And I've only just done this, so I'm a little hazy, but oh, actually it is the table, sorry. Up here you can see under armed citizenry, right, that this is where you sort of specify the units that can be part of a garrison, and down here is where they're assigned to settlements. So as you can see, they're only in Khorne, Outdorf, Corone, Milagro, Kislev, Karazakarak, Black Crag, so on and so forth. If you delete this table, they won't appear in any of the settlements. So basically you have to erase 3 tables to take them fully out. You have to arrange this one, which is called Steel Artillery Batteries Garrison. So I've labelled it so it's really easy for you guys to identify what it is. And Custom Battles Permission, and you've got Steel Artillery Battery, you can just delete that. And then Building Units Allowed, which is here, and there's an artillery table, and you can delete that. And if you do those 3 changes, so literally you can do it in about 15 mouse clicks, probably take about, I don't know, 30 seconds, I guess. If you do that, then you can create a version of the mod that doesn't have artillery batteries. So there you go. Although I would ask, obviously, that if you do this, please don't upload any custom versions of the mod. Don't want it all split up into millions of different bits. And, you know, if I find people are going to start doing that, then I'm going to stop coding it in such a way that makes that easy, basically. And you know, because, you know, it would be nice if like, you know, we kept the mod as it is, and if you want to make your own personal versions for your own offline games or games offline with your friends, that's fine. But, you know, don't basically start uploading them all to Steam Workshop and put my version of this and my version of that, because that wouldn't be very good. Basically, that's just going to confuse everybody. Which does actually bring me on to another point, which was there was a lot of complaints when I mentioned I was going to edit the garrisons, that, oh, it won't be compatible now with all the garrison mods, and we love garrison mods, and I've checked the garrison mods out on the workshop. Some of them are great, you know, but this change is fully compatible with all of those mods. Okay, so it would have been helpful if you might have asked that before everybody started complaining. But yeah, as you can see, what it does is it does not change the vanilla garrisons. All it does is add a unit to them. So therefore, any garrison mod you want to run, it will still work. It should still work, provided that mod is, you know, written in such a way that it should be. It should still work. So again, it seems like a great big load of fuss, frankly, about nothing. And I might actually add that all these like kind of bizarre requests off the workshop and the general attitude of a few people has actually caused the texture guy who works on this with me to quit. So he's decided he's not actually going to upload any mods to Steam Workshop anymore because he's simply fed up with some of the comments that he's been getting back. So considering how good his work was and how many people actually enjoyed it, well, you can thank a few idiots for that one, basically. It also means that the next update for this is going to take longer because I have to do the textures for it myself now, so they're probably not going to be as good as they could have been. He actually did the retexture on the play cannon and the bolt thrower before he quit, so that was really good. But hopefully, you know, he said he's going to take a break, chill out, I don't know, probably have a few beers or something, and then think about whether he wants to do anything for the modding community anymore. Right. So it does help to try to keep comments constructive and try to get information or try out the changes before you start criticizing them would be helpful. Again, feedback is valuable. After people have tried it, they've encountered problems with it or whatever, or they don't like it, and then you can take that and you can work with it. But it's not helpful if you say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, and you get this howling riot of argument before you've even done anything. And it's like, well, hang on a second. How do you know that this won't work? How do you know that the way that it's being designed, isn't what you think it is? So there you go. No, this won't break compatibility with other Garrison mods. At least it shouldn't do. Again, they're not in every settlement. And if you run the AI mods for Ultimate Chaos, then you'll actually find that their armies will come out and get you. So you'll be fighting a lot less siege battles anyway. And I think there's 6 siege battles in the entire game that you'll be facing where they might have a battery. I think, something like that. So it's not actually a major crisis anyway. Which does lead me on to something else actually, which I'm going to quickly show you now. The main mod file isn't the only one that's had an update here, so you can now see we've got this. We've got AI Booster 2, which should be out by, again, the time you see this video. What this basically is it's an extension of the original AI Booster mod. It's basically a continued development of that. The reason it's being released as a separate one is because it is significantly harder than the original AI Booster, and if I'd have updated the original to be this, I think a lot of people will be like, whoa, it's like too hard now. So what you can use this one for is if you're playing Ultimate Chaos Co-op, you can now run AI Booster 2, which will, because there's now 2 of you and effectively twice as much chaos, you can now run this one, and it's a difficulty ramp up from the previous one. Or you can run this one in single player if you think it's too easy. So if you got through the early game, you've recruited a lot of the top tier units, you're steamrolling everybody, you could turn this one on halfway through your campaign, and there you go. The AI will be a little bit tougher again. There is a few things to note. This one isn't compatible with the original because basically they both do the same thing. It's just this one does more of it. So you need to run one or the other. And they're fully toggleable, and what that means is that you can start a campaign with vanilla difficulty, and when you get going you can turn an AI booster on. If it gets too hard, you can turn the AI booster off in the middle of your campaign, and that's fine. It won't affect anything. Because it includes economy mods to the AI, if you turn it off in the middle of your campaign, you might find all the AI goes bankrupt due to upkeep costs, so it could have unintended side effects. But you can basically turn these on and off mid-campaign, if that's what you want to do. So if you think Ultimate Chaos is still too easy, give AI 2 a try. If you want to play co-op with one of your friends, maybe give this difficulty mod a go, because it is considerably harder to get started. And I've actually changed the attrition now so that you can basically safely hide in the chaos waste from legions and legions of Empire actually marching out to do crusades against you. Whereas in the original one, they could actually pretty much walk around the waste with hardly any damage. Well, I've fixed that now so that you actually have a safe place to hide if that's what you want to do. And you might need to do hit and run attacks for the first third of the campaign, really, until your hordes get strong enough to actually start properly invading Kislev and the Empire and literally taking the fight to them. Because, if you try to sack Kislev within the first 20 turns of the game or whatever, it's not going to happen. You're going to come up against like a big army in Prague pretty much on about turn 6. If you win that battle, your horde is going to be in tatters, and you're going to be forced to basically retreat back to the waste and recover a little bit, and then come and have another crack at them. I haven't done changes to the Start Pass mods because the Norska update is coming in 5 days, which will break those mods. So I'm going to work off the Norska Start Pass, and depending on whether or not Creative Assembly actually update their assembly kit to be able to do that is how those mods will get updated or not. I am planning to do things with the Norska update, provided no one's got a howling riot of argument against that. Because it's going to include hopefully some new model parts to utilise should be really cool. There's a new mechanic in the Norska update where you can start to gain favour with the various gods. I'd love to reverse engineer that for Ultimate Chaos so that you can actually, you know, gain the favour of Khorne or Tzeentch or Slaanesh, and maybe that's how you unlock some of the top tier units. So, you know, there's quite a lot that can be done with that. There is going to be another update to Ultimate Chaos probably after Norska now, so that might end up being quite a large one that adds something pretty sweet, which hopefully there won't be a barrage of complaints about. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully you guys are excited for the update, and you sort of hopefully like the sort of, you know, way it's going. There is actually something new that I can just show you real quick in this update. So we'll just quickly fire this one up. I've actually done the icons for the Nurgle faction now. Like on the last major update, the icons were redone for Khorne and Slaanesh, and now I've done the same thing for Nurgle. And again, I might revisit the other icons as well and sort of bring them in line, but that's kind of like a sort of work in progress that's kind of ongoing. But if I just fire it up really quickly, then you should be able to see. Yeah, there we go. Right, so we get some Plague Reefers in here. As you can see, it's very green sort of looking, very green kind of Nurgle look. That's new Nurgle Knights ones. So there you go. So hopefully you like, oops, sorry about that, you like these new icons. And, you know, so when you have a themed army, it kind of should gel together quite nicely, and that's the plan. You can actually have Arbogast now, the leader of the Hordes of Chaos faction, in custom battles. And you can have him, you know, mounted on manticores and dragons and things. So you've actually got a dedicated Nurgle wizard now you can have in custom games, so that's cool. So he's now in there for you to mess around with. And you can see that the difference with artillery batteries is very simple, right? You have the standard one, and the battery version has a little star next to it to tell you what it is. So if we go over to the Empire guys, you can see here that you've got mortars and you've got mortar batteries. Yeah, so the actual war engines, that's something I should point out, have not been overwritten. Nothing has been overwritten. You can have standard mortars still, all the standard war machines, all still there. It's just now you've got the option to have batteries as well. Right, okay, well, I think that just about rounds this video up, pretty much. So hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I'll catch you later.